We're going to teach you guys a really cool things today by Enzo Milano. And I'm going to tell you guys, who we are, who I am, and then, these really important details that we're going to go. Tools of why it's important, the tech, which tech for, which type of hair, and then how can this make me more money and get me more clients. And then at the very end, we're going to get hands-on with some of our tools. You guys get to try our tools, which is really nice. And then you guys get to see what's the difference between these tools, the rest of the tools, right? So we're going to go over these very important things. A little bit about Enzo Milano, for you guys who don't know who Enzo Milano is. Been around a long time, since 1998. Okay, so we're actually the first ones who created the curling wand. Do you guys know what a curling wand is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Okay, perfect. So the curling wand is actually invented in 1998 by Enzo Milano, and we're the very first ones. So we're the original creators of the clipless iron. Okay, so we're gonna jump right in. Okay, so to tools, why is it important? Okay, so why are having tools very important? Well, when you guys actually get into the industry, you guys need to have the tools. For one, that's the obvious answer, right? You guys need to have tools in order to do the work, right? They say work smarter, not harder, right? So you want to have the proper tools for the right things. So just like a straightener, for example, a straightener is for straightening, obviously, but you could also do curls with the straightener, right? Doesn't mean that every person that wants curls should get a flat iron curls. Well, not necessarily, right? Because what if somebody wants quinceañera curls, right? They want really tight ringlet curls or Shakira curls, I call them, right? They're really wavy curls. You can't really attain that with a straightener, right? So if you want to attain that certain style or certain look, you got to use different tools. That's why having tools are important, right? Having different types of tools, okay? So I'm going to get right into it, okay? So when you guys get in the industry, you guys are going to see a lot of these, okay? Right off the bat, right? You guys are going to see, if you guys go to a salon and you type up their reviews, you guys are going to see complaints and compliments, right? Just naturally, okay? So you guys will see also compliments, right? You guys are all going to want to shoot for the compliments, of course, not the complaints. But there's a number one complaint that you guys see within the industry that is just the same thing, right? Always, constantly. Every single salon you search up on Google or Yelp, right? You guys will see the reviews and you see it's going to say complaint. What are the complaints about, right? What do you guys think that people are complaining about?
Time.
Time? Takes too much time, right? That's perfect.
Price.
The price, absolutely.
I saw this one where they made them blow dry it themselves.
What? Okay. So let's just say
I would say quality.
service. Yeah, service for sure. What was it?
Quality.
What was it?
Attitude.
Attitude. Yeah. So the person has an attitude, right?
Customer service.
Customer service. Cool. What else? What would you say?
Quality.
Quality. Perfect. Yeah. The quality of the service, right?
Cleanliness.
Cleanliness. So clean, right? What else do you guys think people are complaining about in the salons? What do you guys think?
Oh, the products that they use sometimes it makes it sticky, it makes it product buildup, or it's hard to take out,
Right.
hard to remove.
Good. Yeah. Products, right?
Desired results.
Not the right results, right? So not what expected, right? Perfect. So we can go ahead and stop there because all of these are all true. Okay, you guys all got it right. Sometimes it takes too much time. Sometimes it takes too little time, right? Hey, they would just rush through my hair. They want to get to the next appointment. So the time can go either way. Okay, price. Maybe it's too expensive, right? Sometimes it's too cheap, right? If it's too cheap, you get the job that you get for too cheap, right? But sometimes if it's too expensive, sometimes you might not get the expectation you got for the price, right? For the value. Okay, the service, the attitude. That's very important. Getting the right service. You guys are gonna know all of these things. Now, what was your name?
Mara.
Mara?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Mara. My name's Eli, okay? So, this is actually going to be, you hit it right on the nail. The number one complaint is I didn't get what I wanted. That's the number one complaint. You guys ever been in the salon for a trim? Right? You guys end up with bob cuts, right? You're like, what the
I
heck?
asked for layers one time and she gave me a complete straight, and I'm like,
And it's too short probably, right?
no, it wasn't too short.
No,
it
you
was
just got the
exactly
choppiness.
the opposite of what I wanted. She
Yes.
just did whatever she wanted.
Perfect example, right? So a lot of people these days, they don't get what they want, right? Now, it's not really the stylist's fault. It's not really the customer's fault either, okay? But why are people not getting what they wanted?
Expectation.
The expectations, right? they have too high of an expectation for the stylist, or the stylist expects maybe to get this done quickly, and she sees it as doing a good job, but maybe she sees it completely opposite to what the customer wants, right?
There's another thing. Sometimes they want it as cheap as possible,
Cheap,
and
right?
still want something like that's really great, but that takes a lot of product, a lot of money. Sometimes more money than they're willing to pay.
Yeah, so that's what falls into the quality, right? The quality, the service that you're getting, right? So if it's not what they expected, okay, now why is that, right? Well, I'm going to go into this right here really quick, okay, before we hop into why is it not what they expected, right? The compliments. What do you guys think compliments-wise?
My hair feels so light and fluffy. I heard that one
Light,
before.
right? So, great hair feeling, right?
Yeah.
Great hair texture, I guess you can say.
They got
Fast
exactly what they
timing.
wanted.
Boom! What did you say? Got exactly what they wanted, right? Got exactly what they wanted or more, right? What they wanted. Okay? So now this is it right here too. This is right on the nail. So you got it. What was your name?
Scarlet.
Scarlett. Nice to meet you, Scarlett. So Scarlett got it right in the head, okay? Hit the nail right in the head, because this is actually the complete opposite of the complaints. Right? So you guys go online, you guys see it, you'll hear them bragging about it one way or another, right? They gave me exactly what I wanted. I wanted layers and they did such a great job. It wasn't choppy, right? And that's the thing is there's complaints and there's compliments. You guys want to get this, you guys don't want to get that, right? Because the negative word always travels faster, right? 10 times faster. So they tell their mom, their sister, their cousin, the Chick-fil-A worker, right? They're taking the order, right? Look at my hair, girl, right? So that's a lot of the times, that's what happens, is the negative word travels faster. But if you guys do end up getting that compliment, right? You get exactly what I wanted, well, guess what? You're going to come back to that person, right? And so on and so forth. For that customer, they're going to come back to you if you're the stylist, right? They got exactly what I wanted and more. So how is this going to make you guys more money? Well, you guys will get referrals, right? They'll refer more clients to you, stuff like that, and you guys will start to build up your clientele, okay? Now, why is that important of it's not what I expected? Why are people not getting what they wanted? And why are people that do get what they want, what's the difference between these two stylists, right? So I'll tell you guys. In the industry, so I walk into salons, so I actually take the same exact case, these same exact tools into salons with me. I don't have a separate one, okay? We had a conversation in the office about maybe bringing cheaper tools to the schools, but I didn't want to be honest with you guys. I wanted to bring you guys what I bring to salon, okay? Because I see you guys as stylists right now. I don't see you guys as just students. I see you guys as licensed professionals, and that's how I view students. Because sometimes I've seen students that are better than stylists, right? That have been in the industry for 10 years, right? So I want to show you guys why that's important and why the tools are important, okay? So when I take this into salons, I'll walk in and I'll show, okay? I'll be like, hey, you guys want to try my new tools? And then most of them do this. Oh, no, I'm okay, thank you so much, I already have everything. And I say, okay, well, can I just, oh, no, I got everything, thank you so much, I appreciate your time. I'm like, okay, well, no, I'm okay, thank you so much, there's the door right there. You can go ahead and leave, right? And I'm like, what the heck, why, like, I never experienced this. I used to sell to the public, and I used to sell to professionals, right? In like beauty shows and stuff. So I travel around the nation, and I go to big beauty events, and a lot of stylists and teachers and salon owners and stuff, right? I sell these type of people. I've been at fairs, I've been at malls. I sold everywhere, right, to the public. I never seen this before. I was like, what the heck? When I got in this industry, and I started selling salons and stylists, walking into a salon is a completely different game, right? I was like, man, this is crazy. Like, I'm getting rejected like right off the bat, right? Maybe it's the way I look or something. I don't know, right? I thought it was something bad, right? So why was I getting that, right? I started to think, why is everybody doing that? I used to go in low-end salons like Santa Ana, where they have like tape on the door, right? And I'm like opening it, like, what is this, right? I don't know where my company sent me. But I also have high-end salons that I go to, like in Crystal Cove, Newport Beach, and there's like Lamborghinis and McLarens and Rolls Royces parked in front, right? Really nice salons. High-end salons, they offer me champagne when I come in, right? And the cool thing is what's the difference between these two as far as ego goes? Nothing. The same. They both blow me off. Even the one with the tape on the door. I'm like, what do you mean, right? So I'm trying to upgrade your tools, okay? Now, the reason why it's very funny to me, but they just have really big egos, right? I love students because students don't have this yet. Some of them maybe when you guys graduate, maybe you guys will, right? I don't know. But that's very common across all the stylists is they have really high egos. They know everything. I already know it all. Thank you so much. Who is this? What is this kid going to teach me that I don't already know, right? Well, then I hit him with this. So I wanted to figure out, because I like a challenge, right? I wanted to figure out how to get in, how to get into these salons, how to get them to question what I'm talking about, right? So I'll be like, oh, okay, well, no worries. When they blow me off right away, right? No worries. Well, hey, what tool are you using? Maybe I want to buy one from you. Do you guys sell the tools here? They're like, what, right? I'm like, yeah. What straightener do you have? Well, I have a Croc. Okay, cool. What do you like about Croc? Well, is it titanium or ceramic? Oh, it's titanium. Oh, okay, perfect. What do you like about titanium? Well, I like it gets really hot. It makes it nice and smooth. Oh, cool. Do you use that same straightener on everybody's hair? Yeah, it works on anybody's hair. It's amazing. It's great, right? Okay, cool. So what's the difference between like a ceramic one and a titanium one? Well, ceramic's good for the hair. Well, how's it good for the hair? Well, it's just like it makes it soft. But I thought you said that's what titanium did. Well, titanium gets really hot, right? And then they start like kind of scrambling like for the answer, like I don't know, right? So they're gonna do one or two things, right? They're gonna either make up a story about something they don't know, right? Or two, they're just gonna be like, well, I don't really know, right? And then they'll just tell me, oh, I don't know. And they'll be like, well, what do you have? Well, I'm glad you asked, right? And I just start telling them about the differences, right? Because I'll ask them, like, what is the difference between titanium and ceramic? And why do you use a titanium straightener on everybody's hair? Is everybody's hair texture that comes in the same? They're like, no. Well, why do you use the same tool? Oh, dang. See, now I start sparking curiosity of, well, hold on, I don't understand, right? So they're so used to doing something because they were never taught it, right? They were never taught this in school. And so they wanted to go in and they just buy what's popular, what's trending on Instagram, right? What's trending on TikTok, right? What their educator, there's a lot of educators on Instagram, right? For tools and salons and stylists, right? And they just buy whatever they recommend, right? So I'm here to teach you guys this because you guys are gonna have the edge. Because you're gonna walk into the salons and you're gonna have other stylists around you. They're just gonna have really big egos. But the big egos gets in the way of a lot of money. Okay, a lot of money. Trust me. So right during COVID, a lot of salons closed, schools closed, right? And this is a perfect example of how you can lose money like that, right? Instantly. A lot of people were going to the garage, right? Doing garage style cuts, right? I had a barber that was going into his garage. I had to go to his garage to get a haircut, right? And so on and so forth for stylists, right? So I was like, man, a lot of people lost a lot of clients. Now after COVID, like right now, I'm going back into the salons, but the salons are not very busy as they used to be. Things have changed for all the salons across the nation. Okay, and I asked a lot of my friends that are stylists that've been in the industry for years. They're saying, hey, I talked to my friends. They're all rebuilding their clientele. So this is a perfect example. Okay, so we went into a salon. Okay, I hit up one of my friends. He's a stylist. I said, hey, my wife wants to get a trim. He's like, yeah, no problem, bring her in, right? And this is where the big egos come in, by the way. Okay, I'm gonna explain to you guys why. Okay, and I said, I told my wife, I said, hey, you want to go get a trim? I have a buddy. He works at the salon down the street. Let's go to him, and he'll give you a trim. So we get there. She's like, my wife has really long hair, right? And she's like, hey, I just want to get a trim, blah blah blah. He's like, okay, no problem. The only thing is, I have to layer it. I have to layer it because your hair is so long and it's thick. And if I don't layer it, you're gonna start getting really frizzy. Your hair will get really frizzy, and the little hairs will start to stick out. I think it's better that we do layers. She's like, well, I don't really want layers. I want just shorter, right, and thinned out. He's like, I understand that, but I'm just letting you know it's gonna get really frizzy. She's like, okay, well, I guess let's just do layers, right? So she's a stylist, so he knows what the type of hair is. He's done this before, right? So her assuming that he knows everything, and he assumes that she's happy with it, he decides to do layers. All right? I think personally looks great. I was like, oh, looks good, right? Has nice layers. He doesn't make it choppy, right? He blends it really well. And then she's like, okay, cool, yeah. She's whatever in the chair, happy, right? And then she goes home, tells her mom, like, oh, mom, look at my hair. She's like, oh, you like it? She's like, no, I don't like it, right? She's like, I don't like how, this is kind of short here and then this is long. I was like, that's what layers is, right? So she's telling her mom. Her mom wanted to go and get a haircut. So she was actually going to recommend this guy if he was good. But she wasn't good. He wasn't good to her, right? So she told her mom, no, don't go to this guy. Her sister, she has two sisters, right? Her two sisters say, hey, what did you think about the cut? She starts telling him, oh, I don't like it. It's kind of this, blah, 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 right? She starts going off, right? Totally, hates the haircut. And I'm like, dang, that sucks for this guy, right? My buddy that actually cut her hair. But at the same time, I was like, well, I understand why, right? Because he is educating her, but he has a really high ego because he says, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to do what I'm doing because I know, right? And my wife doesn't know anything about hair, so she just knows she has it, right? Has a lot of it, right? So how does that get in the way? Well, what he should have done is this, okay? Because now he lost one client from a regular client. Now he lost potentially 4 more clients because she told her mom, her 2 sisters, and her aunt. Now they all ain't coming. I got a house full of girls, right? and what's important here is this. He should have done this. He should have educated her. Said, hey, you know what? Your hair will get really frizzy. I can go ahead and do the layering, or no layering at all. I could just go ahead and do it. But I'm just letting you know in the future, when your hair does get frizzy, it's going to happen. I'm just going to let you know, but there's no problem. I'll go ahead and take care of that. I'll go ahead and send it out, right? Do what the client wants, okay?
Yeah.
The reason why people don't get what they want is because the stylists do what they want, not the customer. The customer doesn't. They just want what they want, but the stylists do something completely different. See that? So how that got in the way of his money. Now he doesn't have a client. I called him or texted him on Thursday, like at 3 o'clock. I'll tell you the exact time, okay? Because this is important. Because I told you guys he's rebuilding clientele, right? So I texted him. I said, because I left a blow dryer with him, and I said, it was a Tuesday. Sorry, on Monday. No, Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Yeah, Tuesday at 3 o'clock. I texted him, hey, I'm gonna come pick up the blow dryer. I left it with you. I said, are you there? He said, are you here? Because I already had arrived. I was about to arrive, right? He says, you know what? I had to leave early. I didn't have any appointments. It's Tuesday, 3 o'clock.
Wow.
Right? And he says, the blow dryer is at the salon. Janae will be able to help you. She's there until 5 p.m. He's been in the industry for like 10 years or 11 years, something like that. It's crazy to me, right? On a Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Well, maybe he should drop the big ego, say, hey, you know what? Let me educate them, and I'm going to still give them what they want. But educate them, because what would have happened is my wife would have probably went home. She would have loved her haircut, told all her family, hey, it's so great, right? And then later on, it would have got frizzy, and she would have blamed herself. Like, he told me it was going to get frizzy. Now she's going to go back to him, sit in the chair, and say, you know what? You're right. I'm so sorry. My hair got super frizzy. Can you layer it for me, right? But guess what? She would have returned, right? And her family would have already gone and got the haircuts from him. So he would have been busy on a Tuesday at 3 o'clock. You see that? So that's why I'm saying this is a big thing, right? Because stylists also want to do what they want. They want to buy the tools that they want too, okay? So what they're going to do is they're going to go to a salon, and they're going to work on just what they're good at. Oh, I'm just good at long hair, balayage, and beach waves. That's all I want to do, right? But the older, we call it mamas, right? The older mamas, right, that are, let's just say, in their 60s, 70s, that have their very shorter cuts, right? They have the short hair, and they want really quinceañera curls, right? The big, or the really loose, tight curls, the really, really tight curls. Those ones also tip money. And they also refer all their family, right? I'm Mexican and Italian, right? So Mexican families, we tell everybody, right? So and we have a big families usually, right? We just have 10 sisters and 10 brothers, right? So we're gonna tell everybody about it, okay? So that's how you guys are gonna be able to make more money, is educate, but give the client what they want, right? No, I think it was like a pallet drop or something like that.
Yeah.
I hope it was that and not something else.
So the big egos, okay? So now, a lot of clients don't get what they expect because they don't get what they want, right? The stylist gets what they want. But sometimes the stylist will do what they want because they don't have all the proper tools, right? So let's just say, for example, you get the one with a really short hair and then wants the really tight curls. But all they have is this, right? Because they like beach waves. Well, how are they going to accomplish the really tight Shakira curls, right, with this thing? You can't, right? So they're going to say, you know what, girl, that's too 80s, right? The quinceañera curls are so like 80s and 90s. Let's do some loose beach waves on you, right? And this is going to be hard to do, by the way, because it's such a big barrel, and with shorter hair, it's really hard with a big barrel, right? So they decide to do beach waves. She's like, I guess, right? Like my wife, yeah, I guess, whatever. Then they go home and tell everybody they don't like it, right? Because it's not what they wanted, right? So it's so true that not having all the proper tools is a big thing too. But that's also a big reason of why they don't do what they need to do, right? Maybe they only have a razor, they don't have texturizing shears, right? They only have a razor to do thinning out, Maybe they don't have texturizing shears, right? So it can go any way, but basically for the tools, maybe they're only good at this, right? I like personally when I get lined up, but some guys will do it with a buzzer, right? We call it the buzzers, and that's what they do the lineup for, right? But I like it with a razor blade, right? So a straight edge, because it's a lot easier and it gets really close to the hair, right? And it doesn't grow back as fast. So I like that. But if my barber doesn't have that, I'm probably gonna go to another barber because that's not what I want, right? So it's important about having all the right tools.
So if you don't know how to shave when you're a barber, you're gonna have less clients.
No, it's not really the shaving part. It's more of having I like personally as a client, yeah, I like having a straight razor for lineups. But if someone does like a buzz cut, it's like kind of like shaving with like a buzzer. You're still gonna have stubble. You know what I mean? So that's what I like as a client. But if he had both, that's cool. He could use one on one type of client and the other type of client, right? So he can get more hooks in the water, get more fish, more clientele. Okay. So having all the proper tools is now going to give you guys that extra edge of giving them exactly what they want, and not giving them exactly what they want and getting the compliments and getting that clientele. Does that all make sense for you guys so far? Yeah? Okay, perfect. Now the next thing is which type for which hair, right? So with a flat iron, there's different types of plates. Now I wanted to touch base on one more thing. Having all the right tools in this industry, you guys are all here at the school to become professionals, right? No one wants to be an amateur, no one wants to be a student forever. We eventually want to be professionals, okay? Mm-hmm. So when you guys want to be professionals, you guys will need to have all the tools in order to be a professional, right? Just like a doctor has a stethoscope to hear your heart, right? Just like a construction worker will have his hammer and his screwdriver and whatever else he needs to be a contractor or a maintenance person, right? And just like, for example, a stylist will need more than just a straightener and a curler and a blow dryer, right? If you guys have all three, great. But you're going to have a client that walks in that wants a very specific type of haircut, and if you can't attain, or haircut or style, and if you can't attain that style, they're not coming back, okay? So what makes you a pro, right? So this is the biggest thing about the whole thing, okay? So what makes you a pro? You a pro. Having all the proper tools for anything. For anything. Now this is big too, because anything will walk through that door when you guys are taking walk-ins, right? So when you guys are starting, you guys are going to take a lot of walk-ins because you won't have a lot of regular clients yet, right? But then you're going to have people that you need to build up, your clientele. But a lot of the salons, they're salon owners, so you guys rent your own chair. But if someone walks in, the receptionist or the salon owner will be like, hey, who's free? They're going to ask the reception, hey, who's free, right? And what was your name again?
Scarlett.
Scarlett. Hey, Scarlett's free. You can go send her to Scarlett, okay? Hey, okay, ma'am, go ahead and go to Scarlett. She's available right now. Everyone else is going to be busy, right? Maybe she's new. She just graduated like last week, and now she's in the salon the following week, right? And this lady comes in and says, hey, Scarlett, I really want to have really loose beach waves, right? I want really loose beach waves. I want a balayage. I want this cut. I want layers, whatever, right? And all right, cool, no problem, okay? Now, if she only has, let's just say, a small curling iron, or maybe she doesn't have any curling iron at all. Maybe she just has a straightener because she's good at curls with a straightener. Well, how can you get beach waves, right? So you're going to have that clientele, and you're just your first client, and you're like, dang, I don't have the proper equipment for her hair, right? So she's going to think you, as Scarlett, hey, you know, Scarlett's not a professional. I'm not coming back to her. See that? So that's going to make you guys a professional. That's what's going to make you guys actually more attractive to the client, okay? So be prepared for anything. People, a lot of the stylists have big egos, so they buy only the tools that they want. They want to get a Dyson because it's really popular, right? Well, they don't know what the Dyson's made out of. They just see it trending and they like how it sounds and they like the design. It's really cool, right? But actually, Dyson was actually created for the public. It actually was a retail item. So there's retail and there's pro, okay? So like the Gamma IQ is actually made for professionals, right? So the Gamma IQ is like this very small little blow dryer. I don't know if you guys seen it. It's like $300 to $500, right? Yeah. But that was actually built for pros, okay? Not saying Dyson's not a good blow dryer. Dyson's a good blow dryer, but it was actually just built for retail. So sometimes stylists are now buying retail, which is for the public, right? So like my mom could use a Dyson, right? But the thing is when you're recommending tools to your client, I wouldn't recommend them a pro version tool, right? I wouldn't tell them to buy Hanzo shears, right? The $3,000 shears. If they want scissors to cut their niece's hair, right? I'm gonna be like, oh, get these shears, like they come and sharpen your tools every 3 months, right? You're like, why would I give them that, right? Hey, go get scissors at Target, right? Any scissors will work. Anything that cuts hair, you can buy that one. It's $10, right? So that's what I would recommend because they're not a professional, right? They're not using these tools every single day. Most of the time, my mom doesn't use anything on her hair. Most of the time, that's how a lot of clients are. They're either too lazy or too busy, right?
Or too cheap.
Or too cheap,
My
right?
mom.
Yeah, my mom too, right? So a lot of the times, if they don't even straighten their hair most of the time. My mom doesn't even blow dry her hair anymore. She's just too lazy or too busy. I don't know. Either way, right? But you guys want to know the difference between having a professional tool and having a retail tool. I'm not saying retail tools are bad, but just know what you're buying and know what you're buying it for. Okay? So this big ego thing gets in the way of these stylists, and they only buy a Dyson. And I'm gonna touch on this last part, and then I'm gonna get right into the flat irons, okay? And the technology behind flat irons. But there's a specific case with the stylist that I actually visit. She wanted to buy tools from me, so scheduled an appointment. She's an independent stylist, okay? And she has like a few different tools, and I showed her the tools, and I showed her my blow dryer, and she's like, "Oh no, I won't buy the blow dryer, but you can show me some of the tools." And I was like, "Oh, what do you mean?" She's like, "Oh, I have a Dyson already. I love Dyson. I've been using it. You will not convince me to buy any other blow dryer." And I was like, "All right, challenge accepted." Right in my head, I'm like, "Challenge accepted." Okay, but she was like, "I love Dyson. I sell Dyson to my clients. I give them my cost for the blow dryer. So if they want to buy it, I'll tell them, hey, buy a blow dryer, buy the Dyson." I'm like, "Okay, that's cool. No worries. Well, here, try my tools, right?" So she's like, "Yeah, I'll take this one. I'll take that one. I'll take the flat iron." And she's like, "You know what? Can I see the blow dryer?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." So she's seeing it. She's like turning it on, feeling the power, and she's like looking at it. She was listening to it like this, and I was like, "What do you think?" She's like, "Yeah, I'll take it." And I'm like, "What?" Like, my mind's blown, right? I just saw the girl who loves Dyson, right? She's like, big Dyson fan. And I was like, "Why would you?" I go, "Question. I mean, that's great that you're gonna buy it from me. Well, why are you gonna buy it? I thought you liked Dyson." And she was like, "Well, I have a client that's been coming to me for years. Since I switched over to Dyson, she has to turn off her hearing aid. She's a hearing aid. And she goes, that pitch on the lowest setting, it gets too high of a pitch, and it messes with her hearing aid." She goes, "I don't want to lose her as a client, so I need another blow dryer." Dang. See? That's where you become a professional. You give the client what they want. Now she doesn't have to turn off her hearing aid and be silent while she's blow drying her hair, right? Because she can't hear anything. So that's important. See, that's the difference. That's what makes her a pro. That's why she's busy when I come in. When every time I come in, she's busy. She always has a client sitting in her chair. But why? Because she knows the need of a client. She knows the importance of a client. That client's been coming to her for years, and she also says that she tips her well.
And she takes an extra step.
She takes one extra step, right? Even though it can cost her $500, well, she got it for $250. So even if it costed her $250 for another blow dryer, she's gonna take that because she sees the long-term value of having that client. Do you see that? So that's why these big egos thing. She doesn't have a big ego, right? She's an older lady. She's very experienced, but she knows that maybe when she was younger, she had a big ego. A lot of the younger stylists have big egos, right? The older stylists don't really have these big egos because they're very humble. They're open to trying new tools, right? So this is why it's important. Cool? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Perfect. So this part right here, it's going to be the last part before we get into the fun stuff, okay? So flat iron, there's going to be different types of flat irons, right? There's a ceramic one, there's titanium, there's different tools, right? Different plates for different flat irons. So ceramic is typically all good for hair types, good for all hair types, okay? So good for all hair types. You guys all know what a ceramic tool is? Yeah, you guys probably had one at one point or another, right? The difference? Yeah, I'm going to teach you guys the difference right now. So the ceramic, it's good for all hair types because it has a layer of protection over the plate, right? So underneath the plate, there's metal, right? There's a heating element inside the tool that heats up the metal that has a ceramic coating over it that protects the hair from getting damaged, right? Because ceramic, this is the difference right here. And this is what you guys really want to know. So if you guys want to write it down, you guys can. If you guys want to come take a picture, I'm sorry, but my handwriting sucks. So if you guys want to come take a picture of it, it's going to be kind of bad, but if you guys want to, okay? Now ceramic has a very consistent heating. Okay? So the heating is like this, right? Very, very consistent. So when you hold a temperature gun to it, it has that really consistent heating. It says that usually the temperature, maybe 1 plus, maybe 1 minus, it'll fluctuate a little bit, but it's very consistent, right? But the consistency also provides you that layer of protection. So when you have it at, let's just say 350 or 375, and you're doing the straightening on this lady's hair, and her hair is really fine, right? Let's just say she has really fine hair, fine and thin hair, right? No need to worry. I have a ceramic one. It's good for fine and thin hair. It has very consistent heating. It doesn't have different heat peaks where it's going to burn the hair, right? Burn the cuticle of the hair. So ceramic, everything will burn the hair to a certain extent, to be honest, okay? To be quite frank, anything and everything will burn the hair. Even when you walk outside, the sun can damage your hair. Even if you never straightened your hair ever in your life, and you walk outside and the sun's hitting on it, it's going to burn the hair. That's why there's serums, there's heat protectors, there's all these different things that are created, right, for the right type of, damage, right? So ceramic is good for all hair types, is for fine, for thin hair. It's typically cheaper, okay? Typically cheaper. Okay. Now, it doesn't last long. Ceramic doesn't typically last long. Now, what I mean by this, I don't mean, and I'll touch on a few cons, of course, on every type of tool. Okay. Doesn't last long. Now, what I mean by this is not that it doesn't turn on and it doesn't work. Okay. So there's ceramic that lasts 10 years, 20 years, right? My mom had her same Revlon for like 15 years or something like that. She's had it, still works great, right? But the thing is, ceramic starts to wear down, okay? So the ceramic, I don't know if you guys ever use a ceramic after a long time, but it eventually starts to skip, right? Starts to skip, starts to pull on the hair, and then starts to snag the little split ends. And you're like, what the heck? Like, what's wrong with my straightener? It looks completely fine still, right? But what's wrong with it? Well, the ceramic starts to wear down because it's a coating over the metal. That metal starts to get exposed over time, and then that starts to snag on the hair, okay?
What do you mean by exposed?
So the metal, it'll be like wearing down the ceramic coating, and it starts to wear down where you'll see the bare metal through it sometimes. Sometimes you don't see the bare metal, but you'll know that ceramic is wearing down because you'll start to feel it like snug on the hair. Okay, so sometimes it doesn't last long in that sense. Not that it doesn't turn on, it's just that it doesn't work as great as when you first bought it, right? So it typically doesn't last as long. Good for all hair types. It's good for pretty much fine and thin hair, so you're pretty safe here when you're using a ceramic tool on fine and thin hair. It's typically cheaper. It doesn't last as long, as far as performance based. And then very consistent heating. That's what I was going to bring up, okay? Consistent heating. Okay? So that's very, very important to know when you guys are actually using different tools, different ceramic tools, okay? Now, this is the difference, right? So which hair type, right? You guys all don't have the same hair texture in here. So it's going to be different hair types for different tools for different hair types, right? So a ceramic one is pretty much good for all hair types, but sometimes on thick hair, with a ceramic one, depending on which tools and which brand, of course, right? But typically with thicker hair, it'll usually work in about 3 to 5 swipes. Okay? Because ceramic sometimes doesn't get as hot, has that consistent heating, right? So when you go over someone with really thick and curly hair, you go over like 3 or 4 times, then it'll start to work, right? But you go over it once, it's gonna poof up, right? Or it gets frizzy, right? So how can you avoid that? Well, they also created a tool called titanium, right? There's titanium type of plates. Now, titanium has a very inconsistent heating element. They're still trying to control it, but a lot of the times it's different heating, right? So there's different heat peaks, or heat valleys we call them, okay? So there's different heat valleys, so sometimes that temperature can boom, spike up really quick and bring it back down, right? And then it'll go consistent again at the temperature you have it at, and then it'll spike up again and bring it back down. Now, sometimes this is a good thing, right? It's not always a bad thing. So sometimes it's good because you need extra heat. So it has heat peaks. Heat peaks. Gets hotter. Okay. Typically lasts longer because there's no ceramic coating on it usually. So typically lasts longer. It's really good for thick hair, thick and curly hair. Okay. And also really good for blowouts. So for the Brazilian blowouts. They have a lot of keratin. It's good for keratin treatment, stuff like that, right? Not saying that the ceramic is not good for those. You can still use the ceramic, just depending on which tool, what type of ceramic it's made out of. But typically, this is what you'd be using it for. It's just going to make your life easier using different tool for different types of hair. Okay. Now that's what I'm saying is like sometimes you can use a ceramic one on thick hair, thick and curly hair, but sometimes you have to go through it a lot of times, right?
Awesome.
Does that make sense? Sometimes if you use a titanium one on a curly, thick hair and you go over it once, it's like whew, amazing, right? And that's why a lot of stylists say, oh, I use a titanium one in everybody's hair, right? But maybe she's burning hair. I honestly think so, right? Because she's using it and she's seeing the curly hair, right? Oh, this thing works on curly, thick hair, right? And I'm like, yeah, but what about the thin and like fine hair? What about that? You know, well, it has those heat peaks. So at these heat peaks, it's probably burning the hair, right? Maybe she has to use heat protectant and stuff like that, right? But that's just an extra step. Now it takes longer. Or we talked about the time. That was the first thing you guys brought up, right? So if it takes too much time, well, you're going to sit there for 2 hours and be like, oh my gosh, she's almost done yet, right? So she's putting heat protectant and she's doing all these extra steps when she could just use a titanium one for thick and curly hair or use a ceramic one for that fine and thin hair, right? So this is typically, a lot of stylists don't know this, right? So that's why I tell everybody, it's important to get a titanium one. It's important to get a ceramic one. You got to have both. You know what I mean? You got to have both for every type of situation. You got to be prepared for anything, right? Now this is also good information for curling irons, right? So they're all made of pretty much ceramic or titanium, right? Same type of different heat elements, right? Now there's also different heating elements that heat up the plate, which is like MCH. There's like different types. There's so many different types, but you guys don't have to really know that because even like stylists know that. And it's like only when you're about to order flat irons like in bulk at like 5,000 units, like then you need to know, what type of heating element. So some last longer, some don't, right? But typically, sometimes the titanium can be a little bit more expensive. Can be pricey, okay? Because why? It lasts longer, right? Heats up faster. For both of these, you want to have temperature control, okay? Because this is very important to heat up the right temperature for the right type of hair, okay? I leave it up to the instructors to teach you about that, the right temperature for the right type of hair, because everyone has a different understanding or different, experience with tools and temperature, so I let maybe the instructors teach you guys about that, okay? So if you guys have questions about that, definitely ask your instructors. They'll go over the temperature with you as well. Does this all make sense so far?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, perfect. You have a question so far?
Yeah, actually, I was thinking,
Yeah.
is there like a certain way I have to store them in order to make them last longer? Like, I know some products you're not supposed to store it in light or in heat and that sort of thing. Is that same thing with the ceramic, the titanium, and the curling irons?
Yeah, that's a good point actually. So if you want to preserve the life on your tools, there's definitely a lot of ways to avoid that. So ours have temperature control. Automatic shut off. Okay, so automatic shut off shuts off after an hour of even if you're using it, it'll still shut off after an hour, regardless. You have to turn it back on. Okay. Now the reason why we have that feature is because when you put it in the basin and you have it hot all day long, what happens is the heat starts to travel up the handle and it starts to get into the different technology that's in it. It starts to fry it, and then eventually your tool doesn't work. Right? Your straightener goes out after a few weeks, and then you say, Eli, you sold me a really bad straightener. I'm like, did you leave it on? Well, yeah, I did. I'm so sorry. Right? So then it's like, okay, well, that's the reason why you had it in your basin for so long. So we have the automatic shut off, so it starts to cool down. Right? We're coming out with the straightener right now. We have a couple prototypes that when you leave it down, when you set it down for more than 30 minutes, it starts to automatically decrease the temperature and leave it at a certain temperature.
What about if you're working with it for more than?
Yeah, if you're working with it more, you're going to have to turn it on again. Okay? You're going to have to turn it on again. It's just a safety feature. A lot of the times, stylists don't really use a straightener for longer than an hour. If they are, then they should probably switch to a different tool. Because a lot of times the tools will get it done quick with one swipe, right? Or they're not using, maybe they're using the ceramic on thick hair. So typically, sometimes that's what happens is they use a thick hair with ceramic and they have to go over it like 4 times. You know, like Brazilian blowouts. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Like Brazilian blowouts and keratins leave residue on the straightening iron.
Yes.
How do you clean that? You guys?
That's a good question. Yeah. So Brazilian blowouts, whenever you have residue that gets built up right here, you're gonna use a cotton ball and alcohol. So cotton ball, alcohol, you're gonna just kind of do this with it, and then you can also use like anything like scissors or something and just scrape it off, and then that will preserve the life on it. I typically clean it after every use of a straightener. Okay. So after so somebody comes in, they're gonna have product in their hair. They'll have shampoo, they'll have conditioner, maybe you did a shampoo and conditioner for them, or they have hairspray, they have junk in it, right? So putting that also, because it also prevents lice too, like spreading lice if somebody else has lice, right? And you're trying to take the next client, you want to make sure you clean your tools, for sure, 100%, okay? Also, blow dryers is the #1 tool you guys will break. Promise you. You can ask your instructors. Blow dryers break all the time. We call these boomerangs because they sell them and then they come back, right? They always come back to the manufacturer. And the reason why is because blow dryers are actually really good, but it's not because blow dryers are just a broken tool all the time. The reason why is because stylists don't clean them. They don't clean the back. So they start getting gunk buildup back here, and then it starts to kind of like it's like putting your hand like this over the tool when you're using it. The engine starts getting too hot, and it burns itself up, and then it starts smelling like, like fried chicken, right? So these come off. Most people don't know that. I'm like, yeah, they come off. You just rinse it in water and soap, and then you put it back on, and then you're good to go again. Now it's going to preserve the life of your blow dryer. Okay, and blow dryers are typically the most expensive tool that you can buy in your kit. Okay, so preserve the life of your blow dryers, and then when you guys have a blow dryer that works for 5 years, you can call me and thank me. Okay.
Do you have to disinfect it since it comes off?
Yeah, you can disinfect it. You can put it in disinfectant. I just use soap and water when we clean it, and then you can use either a wire brush on the back, or you can use a toothbrush on the back. Don't brush your teeth with it after though. Okay.
When you clean with the alcohol, you obviously have to have it off and cold. Right?
Yes, I do both. So I sometimes keep it on. I keep it on, and then I'll still use alcohol because it'll steam it off. It's kind of like using a dry cleaner. The dry cleaners that they do that with like steaming. You know. So it's the same type of concept, but with the alcohol, you don't want to pour alcohol on it. You pour it on the cotton ball, and then you'll just slide it. But yeah, you just got to be careful. So I wear the glove.
Yeah,
I call it the Michael Jackson glove that you get with the curling wands typically.
Oh, yeah.
So I use that to protect myself. So I use a glove. I highly recommend you guys use a glove too. But you guys can clean it cold as well. The more you clean it, the less frequently you'll get the buildup anyways. So if you clean it after each use, then you won't really have to do this much.
What I do is I let it heat and then I disconnect or turn it off. But it's still hot, and then clean it in this way.
Yeah, exactly.
Self-clean.
Yeah, definitely unplug it too. Yeah, because if you don't want to get electrocuted for sure, right? So yeah, definitely unplug it. I done it when it's on and plugged in because I like taking risks. I don't know. Maybe I'm a thrill seeker. I like to get electrocuted, but no, I'm just kidding. But no. So yeah, you can clean it when it's off too. Okay. So make sure that you guys don't burn yourself. You definitely use that glove too, so you don't burn yourself. But cleaning your tools will definitely preserve your life. Okay. Now the next part I'm going to go into is the tourmaline. Okay. So tourmaline. Have you guys ever heard of tourmaline before?
Yes.
Yeah. Some of you guys, yes. Some of you guys know, right? So it is a type of ceramic. Okay. So I'm going to bring it down here. It's good for all hair types too, right? For all hair types. Now, typically, the tourmaline is a little more expensive, right? So it's not a huge difference. Sometimes you'll find a good deal on tourmaline. Now, tourmaline is just like a higher end ceramic, right? It's a ceramic coating, but usually it's higher end. It usually lasts longer, okay? But tourmaline has like an anti-frizz, right? So it generates negative ions, so it doesn't get that frizziness when you go over with the tool, right? So a lot of times you go over it and you get frizzy. And you're like, you go over it again and it gets even frizzier. You're like, what the heck's wrong with this tool, right? Sometimes you need a tourmaline to get that frizziness, right? So I call this my anti-frizz, okay? So anti-frizz, okay? So why? Because it generates negative ions, okay? That's what negative ions is for, if you guys were ever wondering.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Do you think you'd go over a thick curly hair with a titanium and then do a tourmaline to reduce frizz?
It's a good question. Most of the time when you use a titanium on curly and thick hair, usually you just go through it once. And it's already like
Okay,
nice
so
and
if you
straight.
do it with tourmaline, you have to do it with ceramic as well, or if you just do it with straight tourmaline.
You can use, so if a girl has curly hair, right, really thick and curly hair, right? Where is it at? Her hair. If she has really thick and curly hair, and her hair gets frizzy, right? When you use it with a titanium one, then you should try a tourmaline one. But that's why also having all the tools is important, because if one doesn't work, you got to jump into another one that you know, hey, her hair is really frizzy. Now you know the answer. You see that? So that's why knowing this, for one, is going to make you guys more money, because now you guys will be able to gauge which tool to use for each client, right? Now, this is tourmaline, right? So it's a type of ceramic. It's good for all hair types. It's more expensive. It's anti-frizz, negative ions. Okay, so tourmaline's a really good tool. Sometimes there's 100% ceramic, right? I don't know if you guys seen those, right? So there's 100% ceramic. Those are the guys at the mall, right? I used to own a kiosk at a mall, and we used to sell 100% ceramics. So 100% ceramic, what that is basically like a pure 100% plate, right? So it's kind of like glass. If you drop it, it breaks. That's why when we sold them, we had a lifetime warranty on it. But the only thing is that over time, you're not going to be like babying these straighteners. You guys are going to throw these in the ground, right? And they have to get beat up. So for stylists, for professionals, I don't really recommend them. They are really good. I mean, you go over it. It's good for all hair types. It does the same type of things that ceramic does. It leaves a nice smooth finish on it, right? But they're very delicate. So I'll put that here for you guys. Very delicate. And then what happens is if you continue to use it, when the plates crack, you'll start slicing hair because it's kind of like glass. So I've seen it, and I actually used it on someone's hair when it was cracked, and I started cutting the hair, and the hair was stuck in the crack of the flat iron. So I learned from me, right? Learned from my mistakes, and also, by the way, I've learned from my mistakes in all of these items too. So if you guys mess up, don't worry. Okay, there's more clients out there. There's more people being born, right? Every single day, there's gonna be more clients. So don't beat yourself up if you accidentally use a ceramic one and then it took 2 hours and then now the client's not coming back, right? But also if you use a titanium one on super fine and thin hair and maybe it didn't burn, right? Maybe like, oh, maybe my hair is really thick, actually, or maybe it actually works better. Just play with them, but you guys will start to gauge it once you start to actually do the hair. And use different tools, okay?
Maybe you can use the titanium. They have a lot of hair and it's like curly on the bottom back, and then use anti-frizz on the top, so you still have volume.
Yeah, you can play with it. Like I said, you play with it. You're gonna gauge it how you want to gauge it, and like I said, it all comes down to time too. So having the time, because sometimes they say time is money, right? Yeah. So if you can get more clients in and out of the chair faster, a lot of the times you can make more money too, because now you're having 10 clients instead of having 2. And now you're only getting tipped on two clients, right? Instead of getting 10 clients in a day, and now you can get more money, more clients, and then now you have more Instagram, social media content, and stuff like that, right? So, does this all make sense for you guys?
Yeah.
Cool.
The tourmaline.
Tourmaline.
It has like a light in the center, something like that. When you,
Yeah.
I mean, like you say, anti-frizz, kind of. Nothing like that.
Yeah.
So with your fingers, you kind of, even though it's a moisty day, and then you do your hair like this and straight again.
Yeah. So Sutra. Yeah.
Because I think I have one brand new.
Sutra. Yeah. I sold my company to Sutra.
Yeah.
So I used to order from them actually too. They used to have the 100% ceramics, but they do have tourmaline. But the one you're referring to, the red one, is the red light is infrared heat.
Okay.
So that's infrared. They have infrared titanium. They have rose gold titanium and infrared. Infrared is like heats it up from the inside out as opposed to just burning the hair. So infrared's good too. I forgot to mention that, infrared also creates negative ions. It has the anti-frizz technology as well. Typically more expensive. Like on Sutra's website, I think they're like $350. So they're more expensive, but you can attain that by having a tourmaline straightener. Now, what's cool about Enzo Milano is we wanted to kind of create like a happy medium that you can use on most hair, right? And we have one that's a tourmaline and a titanium. So what we did is we want to combine the two the best, right? So we want to have that consistent element, right? The consistent heating, but with the different heat peaks, but control it better, right? So what we did is we created one that's called tortanium. Right? So tur is the tourmaline, and tanium is the titanium. So our plates are called tortanium, right? So it has the heating, the different heat peaks that you need for different types of hair, for curly hair, the thick hair, right? But ceramic, we also have that ceramic tourmaline, right? So it's good for all the hair types. It has all of these features that you use in thin hair and fine hair. It's typically more expensive. It has the anti-frizz, it's negative ions. Now this is a pro tool because we wanted to create the best of the best. Okay, so that's really cool that the owner of Enzo Milano created something that's kind of like a hybrid of both tools that you need. Not necessarily saying that you're going to not need a titanium one, that you're not going to not need a ceramic one. You're still going to need these tools. But the cool thing is you'll be able to use these for pretty much all types of hair. Cool?
You said for the one with infrared heat, you used a different type of metal. What was that called?
It's titanium.
Oh.
Yeah, it's titanium. They're usually rose gold titanium. Like they're different
What's
types.
the difference?
It's honestly just color.
Color.
So there's rose gold titanium. That's what they sell. They also have regular titanium as well, but yeah, but just just make it look pretty. But yeah, titanium is pretty much good for all hair types. Like I said, you're still gonna want to have everything in your toolkit because you want to have everything for any type of hair. Okay, so even though if you got a titanium one from us, it works. I mean, I've used it on every type of hair you can imagine, but still, you want to have all the right tools.
I have a question about the tourmaline one. What is it made out of?
It's ceramic. Yeah, so it's a type of ceramic. So tourmaline is just it's like a different mineral that's used to coat the ceramic tools. Or metal tools.
Is it like that tourmaline rock? Is that?
Here's what
Yes.
I found from Kitchen Sanity.
Well, she had something else to say. Yeah, so it's kind of like it's a type of ceramic stone. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what they use to cover the metal underneath. So all the tools are ceramic coated, but the tourmaline ceramic is a lot healthier for the hair. But yeah, you can do your own research too on tourmaline, what tourmaline is, why it's good for the hair, and it'll come up with tons of different things.
The 100% ceramic ones, they kind of sound high
I found
risk.
this on the web.
Would you stop talking, sir? Sorry.
They sound kind of high risk. So what context would you say you should use that?
The 100% ceramic is more of, I guess you could say it leaves like more of a shine to the hair because it's pure like stone. It's like almost like using a vase on your hair, right? So it's a type of ceramic, so it leaves the hair nice and shiny. You can use it for pretty much anything that this is used for, and it's kind of a mix of a tourmaline because it makes it nice and smooth. It does typically make the hair a little bit more oily than typical straighteners. What's that?
Which one is
The 100% ceramic. So the 100% ceramic, it'll kind of leave it, because what it does, the 100% ceramic, it kind of brings up a lot of the moisture. So it's kind of like, for example, when you have a pot, right, and you're boiling water, a lot of the times it leaves condensation around the outside because of the steam, right? So the ceramic, the pure ceramic, that's why there's different types of ceramic where the egg doesn't get stuck right to the plate. They have these different coatings on it, right? So if you had a 100% ceramic pot, right, a lot of the times it creates that moisture, like locks in a lot more moisture. That's how 100% ceramic is. But to kind of answer your question, it's more of like if someone has really, really dry hair, like really bad, like where it's like brittle, like going 100% ceramic is probably a good thing for that person because it'll pull whatever oil is left in the hair, in the cuticle of the hair, and it'll bring it up to the surface. So that's kind of like where I would use 100% ceramic. But yeah, definitely having all of these in your tool case is going to be, good for, every type of client. But that's a really good question. Yeah, what 100% would be used for. But any more questions for me? You guys all good? You guys not sleeping yet?
No.
All right, cool.
500 pages.
You
Nice.
talk about the material, but also there are different sizes and
Yes,
lengths and
yes.
lines.
There's different sizes. There's like the fat, wide plates. There's like the 2-inch plates. We have one that's 6 inches long. It's called the L6. They're good at 1.25 inch. Now, I always tell people, right? Because a lot of my stylists actually, they've been asking for it. We're gonna build it for them because they want it, right? So we get enough demand. We get enough, wanting. Then we're gonna keep up with that demand of the supply, right? We're gonna supply that. But a lot of times, if they're like 2 inch, right? They're 2 inches and they're just wider, and you grab the hair in it, and you go down. How much faster is it? If it's just up and down. If it was longer, then you're grabbing more hair, right? Because there's hair over here that I'm not catching. But if I had a 6-inch tool, I can grab all of that hair. Now I'm getting this chunk done instead of this chunk. But this chunk, it doesn't make any difference as far as faster, right? So a lot of people get confused and say, oh, well, this is faster. Well, how is it faster? Because I can go side by side and we can time it and it'll be the same exact thing, right? With the fat one and the skinny one. But a lot of times they like the paddle because it creates more heat. Like a lot of times kind of trap that heat a lot better because the steam from the bottom half is rising up and you're catching it at the same time. It's kind of like a weird like little hack. A lot of times stylists just like to use the big one, like the big paddle, because it's more of like an easier feel for them. You know what I mean? But typically it's not faster. This is a 1.25 inch, which is pretty much standard in the industry, and I can race people and I'll even time them like, okay, cool. If you really think it's that fast, let's try it. Like let's time it, and I'll get it done in the same amount of time. So, but yeah, there's different types. There's also really really thin ones that are used for different types of things. Now those are going to be different. Yeah, the thin ones make sense, right? Because you need thinner to get for the bangs, for the really tight little baby hairs, right? You need a thin one. They try to go in with this thing, it's going to burn them, right? So, yes, the thin ones make sense, but the thick ones, not really, because, I mean, it's not going to work as, like, a lot better. It's just going to be easier for the stylist, right? So we have a curved straightener here, but this one's good for the roots of the hair. So you can get to the roots of the hair and it gives you that natural bend, right? We have another one that's a vibrating one that's coming out, like, hopefully soon next year, and that one reduces carpal tunnel and a lot of...
What's the carpal tunnel?
Carpal tunnel is when you have your strain on the wrist, on your tendons in the wrist. So we have a lot of cool things that we're coming out with. But yeah, typically the plates standard across the board is pretty much good for all.
Doesn't affect the person.
No, they won't shake. Not that powerful. It's just a very small vibration. It also separates the hair cuticles a little easier, and it also is really good for the wrist. And then we're also going to have one where you put it down and it starts to go to a lower temperature automatically after I think it's about like 10 minutes of use, not using it, or 10 or 15 minutes. And it starts to go down and it brings it down to like, I think it's like 160 and keeps it at a consistent. And then when you pick it back up, it heats up to the temperature you had it at.
Very quickly.
Yeah, very, within 10 to 15 seconds.
That's
So
safe.
we're coming out with it. It's going to be out next year. So you guys will all be, joined in to that when that comes out, okay? But cool. So now the last part, because I'm going to take 5 more minutes to explain why this is important. You guys are going to have clients that walk in and they sit in your chair and they're going to ask you, hey, what straightener should I get? Mine just broke, right? I'm sure you guys probably asked your stylist at one point or another, what straightener should I get, right? Your tool breaks and they said, hey, I have really thick hair. I have this ceramic one. It's just not working as well, right? Well, hey, your hair is really thick. You're right. It's really thick and curly. I know you said you had a ceramic one. Did you like how it worked, right? Oh, I didn't like it. It never gets straight. Like, I want it nice and pin straight, right? So, okay, cool. I would definitely recommend a titanium one, right? Maybe if you guys are familiar with a really good titanium one that you like, recommend that tool to her. Hey, titanium has different heat peaks, so maybe you're getting that consistent heating where it's not, it's not really getting that high heat that you need for your curly, thick hair. So titanium is going to make it a lot better because it does get hotter, has higher heat peaks, and it's typically good that we use those for blowouts and really thick and curly hair. You educate your client that's sitting in your chair, they're going to fall in love with you, they're going to go buy the tool, they're going to fall in love, and they're going to recommend it to all their friends and family. Yes, 100%, yeah. So temperature control is going to be important for any type of tool that you need. Definitely have a temperature control. Also for the client, you can kind of recommend things too. Like, hey, I recommend using it at this temperature. Sometimes a ceramic one, even at the highest temperature, it might still be that really consistent heating.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay, yeah, it might still be the consistent heating, but it may not be enough heat to get exactly what they want. Even if it says 450, it's really consistent 450. Sometimes they might need 460 or 480 or 500. There's a tool that we had that goes up to 500 degrees, right?
Wow.
And a lot of people are like freaking out about it, right?
Mhm.
But it was actually made of tourmaline, so it's going to protect the hair. You see that? Like I said, everything's going to damage your hair, right? You guys can use, back in the day, they used to use irons, right? They used to iron clothes with, right? That was burning the hair for sure. But at the end of the day, each tool that you're going to use, maybe you need, like someone has really thick and curly hair, that's really, really rough, right? It just, nothing works on their hair. And I've had that in my chair. So I've been doing this for 10 years, like I said. I've sold every type of client you can imagine. From like Asian, fine, super straight hair, right? And talk about ethnic hair, right? Ethnic hair, like super fine hair, right? Or this thick hair, right? Super curly, thick, poofy. I've done it all, right? But I've used the different types of plates on the right type of client, and it's always worked. It's always worked. And I'm like, this is cool, because now I understand how it works, like how things work, and it just makes my life so much easier when I'm doing a client's hair. Also, when I'm recommending things of why I'm using their hair and educating them why I'm using a tourmaline or a titanium or a ceramic or 100% or a tortanium one on their hair, and I'm educating them, they always leave me a big tip. Always. I've gotten $200 tips, $100 tip, $200 tips, $60 tips. I get tips quite often, especially when they recommend tools, like when I recommend tools to them. And I actually had a stylist. I went to San Diego. It was about 2 months ago. I did a show over there, and I was recommending a tool to a client, but she was a stylist. She's been a stylist for like 30 years. She was like, "Oh yeah, I'm retired now. I only take like 1 or 2 clients a week. Just living the dream now, right?" And she was really, really nice, super, super nice. And she's like, "You know, Eli, like I don't know what tool I should use for my hair. Like, you know, I use all these different types of straightener. I have a crock, I have this, I have that." She's naming all these tools, and I'm like, "Hey, you should try this. All right, try this because this is your hair type and blah, blah." And I'm explaining to her how it locks in the cuticle and blah, right? And I'm explaining everything to her, and she's like totally soaking it in, like listening to every word I'm saying. And I'm like, wow, this is cool. Like, I'm educating somebody who's done hair longer than I've been alive, right? And she's like, really? Like, oh yeah, you know what? That does make sense because when I do this, right? And we're totally connecting. And at the end of it, I think it was like $500 or something like that. It's like a $500 sale or something like that, right? And so I sold her. And so we have a tip option. It's 10, 15, 25%, right? 10% would be $50, right? 20% is $100, and then 25% is $150, right? And so I was like, dang, like this is cool. I'm educating her, we're connecting, and then at the end, I give the POS system to her. We're using Square, and she clicked 25%, and I'm like, and I got it back, and I'm looking at the thing, and I was like $100 something, $170 something, or $150 or something like that. And I'm looking at it, and I was like, oh, I think you accidentally clicked the tip because I thought she did it wrong. I was like, oh, you accidentally clicked it. And she's like, oh no, honey, that's for you. Like, and I was like, what? Like,
Wow.
and I was like, no way. Like, she's tipping me fat. Like, I didn't do her hair. I'm not cutting and styling. I'm just literally doing curls and like educating her. You know, I'm selling the tool. I'm not really cutting hair or nothing. So I'm like, dang, that's crazy. Like, stylists don't even make that sometimes, you know. And I'm thinking like, why did she tip me? So I asked her. I was like, hey, you know, I appreciate the tip, but like, why did you tip me so much? Right? Because I want to know. Like, I want to know why people tip me so good, and the people who don't tip me so good, I want to know why they don't tip me so good either, right? So I asked her, and she said, well, you really educated me. I didn't really know these things. And I was like, she's like, you really taught me something that I didn't know, and that doesn't happen very often. And she's like, so I wanted to give you, you know, money. I want to pay you for your knowledge. And I was like, that's cool. Like, to me, I was like, dang, that made my whole day, you know? I was showing everybody, like, look at my tip. Like, I was flexing with everybody, you know? And that's what was important to me. I was like, dang, I'm actually teaching this knowledge. This knowledge is important, right? This knowledge is actually worth money, right? So I'm going to charge you guys all at the end of this course. I'm just kidding. It's 100% free, don't worry. But no, you know, and this is what's going to make you guys more money at the end of the day. You guys are going to get these tool knowledge, this understanding. You guys are going to be recommending to your clients one day. And when you guys get tipped, I'll take 50%. Right? I'm just kidding. But no, yeah. So that's pretty much it for this course. Yeah. Go for it.
Oh yeah,
You guys
I want to
wanna-
take a picture and send to my friend who's not here because.
Yeah, go for it. I'm sorry, it's bad writing.
It's fine.
It's not bad.
It's readable.
I say I have handwriting like a
It's
doctor.
not working.
You know?
Okay,
It's
Doctor-
well organized.
Can someone who took a picture send it to me? Because
Prescriptions.
for some reason my camera's not working.
Yeah, go for
You
it.
switch out cords based off of wattage, based off of type of cord, etc.
Right.
Type of outlet.
Like when you travel?
Yeah, like there's this one that has a USB outlet cord, and you can plug that in, and then it has a 3-prong cord and a 2-prong cord, and all sorts of different things like that.
Yeah, so the 1-prong and 2-prong, those are different outlets. So when you travel to like Australia or New Zealand, they have what's called 240 volts, and here it's 110. So 220 to 240 is in like different countries where you'll need an adapter or you need a converter. So for example, a lot of tools that you guys buy, if you look on the back, they'll say either worldwide plates, which is 110 over 240, or they'll just say 110, which is here, right? So if you take it to Australia and you put an adapter on it to convert it into the 3-prong instead of the 2-prong that we have here, right? It's like a 3 flat prongs that you plug it straight in, it'll blow up because it's double the voltage, right? So it's 110 here, it'll be 220 over there, and you'll hear your blow dryer and it'll like wind up really fast and it'll scare the hell out of you. I promise you, okay? So yeah, having a dual voltage, sometimes you have to convert it, right, from 110 to 240, or step it down from the 240 when you plug it in and convert it back down to 110. So you have to buy a converter, like it's called an inverter, where you plug that in and then you have to plug into another thing which converts it down to like 110. It's kind of weird, kind of complicated. I recommend just getting tools that are like dual voltage. So our tools are dual voltage. Our blow dryer is not. So if you go to another country, you have to buy a different blow dryer or buy the converter. Okay, that's really important. A lot of people don't know that, but that is a good question. That's why there's 3 prongs and 2 prongs and 1 prong and stuff like that. Okay, but you had another question back here?
Oh, I was just gonna ask, when people are there's steam coming off of the hair.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, I say like cars, right? Because I know cars really well.
Yeah.
So cars, white smoke is okay, right?
Yeah.
Because when you see white smoke on your car, it's usually a water problem, right? But if there's black smoke, sometimes you gotta run, right? You run with black smoke. So black smoke coming out of your tailpipe, it's usually an oil problem, oil leak or something like that, right? So the black smoke is usually typically not good because that's burn. That's burning the oils. White smoke is usually typically from the blow dryer heating up the oils, so it's just the oil steaming because everyone has natural oils.
Yeah.
Some have more oily hair than others, so that's typically what it is. But yeah, steam is fine, white smoke is fine. If it smells burning, then maybe it is burning, you know? So kind of use your judgment on that. But yeah, most of the time it's just the oils in the hair.
Okay.
Yeah, because you'll see it on all of our tools too. Like you use a straightener on it, it'll steam,
Yeah.
but it's just because the oil's in the hair.
Okay.
But that's a good question. What other questions do you guys have?
When it's this kind of weather outside and it's humid,
Yes.
my hair frizzes.
Yes.
One of the machines you were talking about, brought
Tourmaline?
moisture to the surface.
That's the 100% and tourmaline. So there's two.
Tourmaline.
Yeah,
Would
tourmaline.
that be a good thing? Because
Yeah.
I'm frizzy when it's humid.
Yeah, definitely. So, so the reason why is because it creates negative ions. So the tourmaline, it creates negative ions, generates negative ions in your hair. So what happens is when you go outside, it just frizzes up because the moisture gets locked inside. The tourmaline kind of, when it creates that anti-frizz, it's kind of like bringing up the oils and bringing it on the surface layer of the hair. So when you feel the hair, it's going to be really soft after I'm done with the straightener, right? The reason why is
It'll
because the
revert
oils.
moisture.
Yes, exactly. And it'll bring it so you know how you can't mix water and oil together? It's completely separate. It's the same concept where it's using your natural oils as a protectant from the moisture getting locked into your hair.
Excellent.
So yeah, no problem.
So what you're saying is if you use a tourmaline or any ceramic, it will help with the humidity?
Not any type of ceramic. Sometimes there's cheap ceramics. Like you can go buy a straightener at the Dollar Tree. That's the ceramic one, right? But typically, it's probably not going to do what it's supposed to do. Tourmaline is typically good for anti-frizz. So if you want to do the anti-frizz thing and your hair does frizz up, try tourmaline. If you look up tourmaline as well, like look up what it's good for, and it'll tell you about the frizzing. But yeah, that's a good question.
And the tortanium one is good also?
Yeah, titanium is also because it's tourmaline coated. So it's titanium based with tourmaline coating.
Okay.
So for the you talked about the width of the curling iron.
Yeah.
You didn't talk about the length. Does the length change at anything? Like if the plate is longer?
Yeah, so we have a longer plate, so it just gets the hair done faster.
Okay.
Yeah, it gets the hair done faster for longer. Typically like a few minutes longer. It's not like a huge deal. Like I didn't really sell a lot of this 6-inch straighteners. We have 6-inch straighteners. If you guys are interested, you guys can purchase it. We do have it online, okay? But question, did you guys get a chance to do the sign up yet?
Yeah.
You guys all did it? Okay,
Sign up
perfect.
for what? No, I haven't.
Barcode, did you do the barcode?
No, I haven't so far.
No?
The
Okay.
flyer is here.
Oh, it's on the flyer. I'm stupid.
Bleach? Okay. So, I'm going to show you guys a different tool. So this one's called the SX, okay? So that's the SX Pro. If you guys go online, there's like a million SXs, okay? So sorry, but they had a lot of redesigns on this. The SX Pro is going to be the ones with the fin on the back. There's another one that's called the SX, just the basic one. And that one has it flat where it gets really hot in the back. This one is protected so you don't burn yourself. So with the back, it doesn't get as hot as it used to get, okay? Now this is actually at 390 degrees. It does have tourmaline on the inside. So if I touch it, it's not going to burn you at all. So if you put it on your neck and your face, it's not going to burn you at all, which is really cool, especially for shorter hair, right? Because you can burn someone's hair or burn someone's head if you're using a straightener on shorter hair, because sometimes if you don't get really close, right? Now this one's nice because you can just brush it, right? So instantly you can just brush it out. Now this one's nice because you can bend it either towards the face, and you can put it underneath, and you can just straighten out the hair with just literally one swipe, and you can see the difference. So I call this the hurry up brush. I call it a mom brush, and I call it the busy woman lazy comb. Okay, so if you're a busy woman or lazy like me, right, this is a cool tool.
What type of hair does it work with? Because I have tried some those type of brushes.
Yeah.
And they don't work on my hair.
Yeah, so you're going to be able to come try it at the end of it. So I want you to try it on your hair, see if it works. Okay? So you can try these tools out. It straightens the hair really, really well. We actually had, you can also use them on doll heads too. So if you guys want to bring up your doll heads, you guys can use them on the doll head, right? So you can straighten the curls out. It straightens really, really curly hair because of the tourmaline, right? It does have temperature control. It goes from 390, you click it once. It goes to 430, or you can go down to 350. Okay, but you guys can see it with just one swipe. It's super, super easy. Even on longer hair, you can just brush it. Okay, so this one's a hurry up brush. So when you guys are in a hurry, you want to get it done quick, grab the brush and straighten it out, and it's like 5-10 minutes, okay? So that's the brush. I'm going to kind of rush through these because I want you guys to try it, okay? Because I don't want to just show you guys. I want you guys to get up and actually try these tools out. Now this one's the air curler, the A1 air curler, okay? Now this is air on the outside. So air on the outside, what it does is it blows out air on the outside, but it heats it up on the inside. Yes, so it does cool it down, so it's not hot on the outside anymore. Once you turn it and you cool it down, it sets the curl, okay?
Like the cars, no?
What's that?
Like the cars, the vehicles.
Oh yeah, like the cars, yeah, like the fan, right? So, for example, if you wanted to do some curls, it's super easy. Now this is a spring-loaded clip, so it's, you know, it grabs the hair really tight. So when you grab it and you flip it, it blows off the heat. So what it does is it literally just makes it nice and soft, and you can do really, really easy curls. And if you feel your hair, go ahead and feel it. Is it hot?
Because it
No,
has
not
like
at all.
a vent, right? That
Yeah. I call it the air hockey straightener because you guys know how the little holes there. So air hockey curler, right? So this one's nice because it curls the hair. It's not hot. Her hair's not hot, so it sets the curl. Also, it's really good for people who have really colored hair, right? Because color sometimes will burn really fast. So this has air on the outside, so it really cools it down immediately. You guys can try it on your guys' hair too. The curling one, I'm not going to use on her hair because her hair is a little short. I don't want to burn her scalp. So I would use a smaller barrel, which is a 25 millimeter or the inch, right? So it'd be like something like this I would use on her hair or something even smaller. This one's actually sold out, unfortunately. So if you guys do want to buy a
How many
curling
inches is that one?
wand, what's that?
How many inches is that?
This one's an inch. Yeah, this one's an inch and a half on this one. Okay. And then we do have the cone shape. So this is the cone, right? So it's 25 millimeter to 19 millimeter. So you guys can buy whichever head you want for it. This one does have the clip, so you can use a clip or a clipless. So it has the, you can use it as a curling wand because it does have the cool tips on the end.
so you can just like replace and exchange.
Yeah, so these are interchangeable. So you guys can buy the barrel separately, and then when you guys buy your first tool, you guys can pick whatever head you want for it. So whatever barrel you want. Okay. Now this is the flat iron. So the CR. So this one's curved, right, for the roots of the hair. So I'm going to turn you all the way around, and I'm going to show you on the back of your hair, so this way they can really see how it gets to the roots. This one's actually going to be, since you volunteered, you're actually going to get this comb, okay? So this is for you to keep. And this is a 6-inch rat tail comb, and it's metal, so you don't have to worry about breaking it. A lot of stylists have been asking for these, so you'll be one of the first ones even in front of these stylists, okay?
You sell them on your website?
We do, So they are under the rat tail combs.
And there are, I assume, like, they can support heat as well?
Yeah, so it'll take a lot of heat. So you know the other rat tail combs, they melt really fast. So this one you can get pretty close to it without it melting. So that's what I like about these. It's like
It's hard rubber?
It's like hard plastic, like a heat resistant plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it has the metal too. So if you want to grab a lot of hair, it's really long. You can grab like literally all the hair all at once.
When you're foiling, the foil will fall over the tail.
That's what
Exactly.
I was thinking because I like to do that. Otherwise,
Exactly. But you guys can see, you guys can get a little bit of lift on the back, right? So you can bring it up. You see the lift from that side. So you guys can see the little lift, and it has that naturalness, the natural, bend to it. So when you're doing the roots of the hair, it also has cool tips on the end, so you don't burn yourself. So that's really nice, a nice feature. So when you're grabbing the hair, you don't have to worry about like grabbing the tool. You can curl it.
Does the air cooler or?
No, this one's the CR in the bottom. The CR flat iron Curvo.
How much you gonna give of that one today?
Same, $100. Yeah. And if you guys wanted to do curls with this, you guys can do curls. The cool thing about our flat irons is they actually have what's called floating plates, so the plates move automatically. So when you do the turn, all you have to do is just turn it once. You don't have to turn it anymore after this. Normally you have to keep turning, but it does it automatically. You see that? So it'll do the curls immediately, and the curls typically last a pretty long time.
What does this have?
Tortanium. So it's Tourmaline and titanium. Yeah. So you got the healthy stuff, And even if you brush it out a bunch of times, right? A lot of the times the curls just fall out. But this one typically will last longer. The curls will stay curled. Okay. So you guys can try these tools out. And for you, if I'm gonna have you go ahead and switch, I'm gonna fix your hair after, okay? So don't worry. I'm not gonna leave you with 2 curls, okay? So go ahead and hop in here, just for time's sake, okay? And go ahead and hop in here. Now for the curling one, right? You already have pretty much curly hair. So the cool thing about curly hair, right, is how do I change the type of texture, the type of curl that she already has, right? How do I change her curl pattern? Well, you can use a curling wand, which is nice, right? So she has like really wavy hair. Her hair is not super thick, but she does have a lot of hair. Her hair is pretty fine, but she has a lot of fine hair, right? Now check this out. So if I wanted to do like a regular curl, she's like, hey Eli, I want regular curls. No problem, right? You can use the clip.
Is that an interchangeable barrel?
Yes, that's a good question. They are interchangeable, so you can change the sizing on them. Okay, so you can do regular curls, right? See that? So I changed her curl pattern. See how it's straight now? It's not wavy anymore. So it has that nice curl. This is more of the spiral curl. And then she kind of have waves already. So let me grab this right here, the longer piece. If you guys want to do something different with her hair, you guys can still do beach waves. And you just hold it like this, and you're going to twist as you wrap it. And this is going to give you guys nice beach waves, okay? More wavy curls. So as you wrap, twist it, you wrap, hold it on the end of the hair right here, on the end of the curling iron. Point it down, pull it up. I like to hold the heat in for a couple seconds. You guys can use a glove too. It does come with a glove. So if you don't want to burn yourself, and then if you bring it down, it just turns into those waves. You see that? So you see it's the different type of wave. It's not like a curl, and you guys can do more of like beachy waves with it, or they're known as Hollywood waves, right?
So when you were talking about earlier how the of the type of waves that it is about the anti-frizz, are those the ones that you have
Yeah.
for anti-frizz?
Yeah, so this is a tourmaline coated. So tourmaline, yeah, it's the generates negative ions, so it's anti-frizzing. So it doesn't get so frizzy. You can actually, it'll control the frizz. I'm brushing it out. I haven't even brushed this hair. So even if I brush this out a few times, this one's for you, by the way. So I'm gonna open up a new one for you. And then I do have one for you.
Oh,
Okay, my last one.
we talk about it when we do highlights.
Oh yes,
How
on the foil.
important the tail is.
Yes, yeah. And this is a 6-inch too, so you get a lot more length with it. A lot of these stylists been asking for these, so we do have some at the office. So if you guys are interested in them, and you guys get that discount too with the discount. So, but yeah. So for instance, even if you wanted to use a brush, right? So let me grab this. Now I like to brush it out, even though it is a brush, right? I still like to brush it out because I don't like tangles. So if you brush it out beforehand, it'll also go through your client's hair a lot smoother. And with just one swipe, right? So if I were to grab this brush and put it right on her hair, you can see it literally instantly. Remember I was talking about that steam earlier?
Yeah.
So you can see that steam because her oils are in her hair. And you can put it one time on top, one time on the bottom. And this brush is really, really nice. Yeah. I like the brush because it's fast, it's easy. You can touch it without burning yourself. And go ahead and feel your hair. Does that feel burnt? Soft, right? So it's super soft. It's not going to make the hair smell like fried chicken. Right? So it's super soft. And then you guys are going to be able to come use this now, okay?
What tool is that one?
This one's called the SX Pro. SX Pro Plus. Yeah. Okay. Now the blow dryer, I don't have a round brush with me. This is for you, by the way. This is yours. You're welcome. And then this one is yours. Oh, where'd she go?
Does anybody have a round?
She's out of here, huh?
Yeah, she
Okay,
sits there.
Thank you. Okay, I'll leave it there for her. So now this is the blow dryer. Now the thing about the blow dryer is I don't have a round brush with me. I'm not really good at the round brush type of curls. But I'm sure a lot of you guys are a lot better than me. So I'm going to let you guys have fun with it. Now the cool thing about the blow dryer is this is pretty good. 10 foot cords. Okay, so 10-foot cords are like a must now. They're typically 8 feet. And the reason why is because then when you're doing a client's hair, I can go all the way over here, right? So if I'm turning her around, I can blow dry the hair here, right? I can do this side, and it's very easy. A lot of times you're like hopping over her legs.
How many watts that one?
This one's a 2,000 watt. So most blow dryers in the industry are 1375 to 1500 watts. Sometimes 1875, so 1500 to 1875 watts. This one's 2,000. Not typically, a lot of blow dryers have 2,000 watts, but this is also combined with very lightweight. So let's go ahead and hold that really quick.
just gonna ask how much does that thing weigh?
It's very light. She just said, "Oh wow." So it's very, very light. Go ahead and feel that. So it's very, very light. So you don't have to worry about the heaviness, right, of carrying this big, heavy, bulky blow dryer. This is here. Go ahead and hold that.
Yeah, that's something that the thin one that you were
Yeah.
talking about is like $300 and something.
Yeah, the
Those-
gamma.
Yeah,
So-
I've looked at it and it's so light in your hand.
Yeah.
But when you're
Using it,
using it, it doesn't really
give you that
give you that much.
that much power,
Yeah,
right?
it doesn't.
So this is a 2,000 watts. So the cool thing about this one is I'm just gonna hold it at the base and I'm gonna turn it at the highest settings. Okay. So you're gonna see it flow back because of its lightweight and because it's so powerful. Last time I had it on like this and I plugged it in and then it just blew off the table. So it was a good thing and a bad thing. I was like, oh, but that's what I think it was here. I was in the other class and I left it on and it just blew off the table. But it's very powerful. Okay. And combined with the lightweight, it's really cool because you can have that power also with the lightweight feeling to it.
And it takes off the snake.
Yes, and it does take off, so you can clean it as well. And you can grab if anything else got in there, you can kind of grab it with a pick. Now, it does come off easily. It does have the cool shot, but it's a click shot. So that's really nice. Yeah, so you don't have to hold it anymore, right? And then it does have 2 different heat settings as well. Or I guess you say 3 different heat settings and 2 different speed settings. And then you get that 10-foot cord as well. Okay? And then it does come with 2 different nozzles. It doesn't come with the diffuser, the big diffuser, but it does come with the 2 flatheads. So you get the regular flathead, and then this one is angled. So it's kind of at an angle, so when you're using the round brush, you can use a round brush and you can bring it down, right? Or if you want to take it off, you guys can take this off and you guys can put it at the front, right? So you guys can do it like that too. So it's sold it to you guys. It's very customizable. You can put it at any angle that's cancer to you. And then, but yeah, you guys can come try this as well. Do you guys have any questions about the tools?
Oh, how much is the blow dryer?
Blow dryer is also going to be $100.
I may ask questions after I try it.
Yeah, you guys can come. You guys can come try it.
If we buy it today, does it get shipped or do we get it?
Yes. So, so normally we ship it to the schools. Okay.